Hey, peace to all the gods and peace to all the earths. Assalamu alaikum. I come in the name of Emir or Supreme Truth and Master. And I just wanted to build in this video today with y'all on today's mathematics. Cause I just went and woke up, I was meditating, and I was going through my head building by myself. And now I seen and understood this. I want to show y'all my viewpoint, and maybe I can actually help some of y'all understand today's mathematics or just get a little insight to how I see them. So any of that, I'm gonna try to make this video as jam-packed with information as possible. So I don't want to go around wasting time. So let's get into it. Today's mathematics is 26, or wisdom equality, which would be wisdom is the wise words spoken by the wise man. Wisdom is a manifestation of the foundation, which is the knowledge. Equality is to be equal mentally as well as physically in everything. So how do they relate to each other? How do I see that? Well, let's so how they relate to each other, how you come into knowledge, how you come into wisdom is by you fulfilling the other step, because, you know, because if knowledge is to look, listen, and observe, I'm just trying to go, give a very loose definition of it. But knowledge is the act of, watching and intaking. And wisdom is the act of, the wise words spoken by the wise man, because once you have wisdom, you've elevated that knowledge in order to you know, bring to you understanding, because that's the finished product and stuff. But once you obtain wisdom, that's you actually taking on the responsibility and bringing something into fruition, actually making that judgment call if it's worth it, going through, knowledge to born, going through seeing what the culture of that thing is like, seeing will this bring equality, and seeing what will they do within each and every single facet of my life, which is equality. But that's what wisdom is, that's speaking on something. And knowledge, wisdom would basically mean, you know, being quick to listen and slow to speak. Because a lot of people are the opposite. They go off and try to start speaking, and they might accidentally mix truth with falsehood. So when we look at today's mathematics, the equality is be equal mentally as well as physically. And going from knowledge to wisdom, that's basically bringing that equality in place, listening and then speaking, because you cannot speak and then listen. It goes into us, because knowledge is the foundation of everything. You can't go off something without a foundation. This is the one, what's his name? The one reggae artist, Lee Scratch Perry's song, I think it was. You know, the wise man builds his house on the rocks with a strong foundation, but the foolish man builds his house on the sand, and it crumbles because the sand don't got no foundation. So you can't go from wisdom to knowledge. You have to go from knowledge to wisdom. And that's basically just mean bringing something in equilibrium, fulfilling one part, then going through it, making that judgment call, which is wisdom, actually looking and deciphering it. And sometimes, because everything has a cipher, so you must go within the cipher to figure it out. Because sometimes there's an external cipher, just like the mother plane has two rings. Sometimes it has two rings, because there's always a surface level, and there's always what's actually beneath it. So what the wisdom or what today's mathematics really represents is actually looking deeper within something. Because one problem that sometimes I used to have, and sometimes I still have, is sometimes I look at too much of a surface level aspect of today's mathematics, today's supreme alphabet, whatever it is. But with anything, because remember, it is equality we're talking about. We must look and decipher everything. We must look at the equality, because wisdom is when you're, taking a deeper dive into something, actually advancing it from just the surface level. You've studied it and stuff, and now you must make that judgment call. And when you're making that judgment call, bring something from one to born, because there's 9 lessons in supreme mathematics and stuff. You're bringing something from, you know, knowledge to born. You're looking through them steps, and them steps are going to help you see the inner and outer circumference of that entire cipher. So that's how you see when you're looking through something. You feel me? And stuff. And another way another viewpoint of today's mathematics, just such as like other than what I said, how it basically, very short, simple answer, but it means that no matter what you are going into, you must keep that equality. You feel me? Because the equality of Not only looking what's on the outside, but looking what's on the inside, and looking what comprises and makes up its culture, makes up its, well, its knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, freedom, power, refinement, equality, God, and then born. I mean, equality, God, build or destroy, then born. My fault. But so you took it through the entire steps, and you're making sure to do that with everything. So not only with mathematics, this is not what mathematics basically, or well, all of 120, but it equips you to actually be a analytical thinker, and also be, this isn't just for this to sound cool and look cool. This ain't no fad, no nothing like that. This is how you actually go throughout your day-to-day life. So not only you do this when you study, and you do this within your actual actions, the actuality of everything. You do that within your thinking. You do that within your teaching, you feel me? So you can't just teach one aspect and leave out the other, or else it's going to be unfinished. Now, also want to tell y'all another way of seeing today's mathematics. How equality really just represents going from knowledge to wisdom. I kind of touched on this before I started speaking on, how wisdom plays into equality, but also just, you know, wisdom is bringing about equality. And when you look at it, once you combine the two, the foundation and the actual building of that, what do you get? You get a finished product, just like a house. If you got all these roofs and boards and 2x4s and screws and shit, and you got a motherfucking, a concrete platform, and you throw the two together. But not only that, it isn't just the external ulterior stuff. It's the actual hard work, labor, and, like I said, the hard work and the action and time that goes into that. So that's all why that's kind of how wisdom has two sides. Yes, it is speaking. Yes, it's also making that judgment call, but it's both. It's the context, and it's the what's the word I'm thinking of? It's the not the subject, but the body of them words. The material, the content of them words mixed with how it was even gone about to find them, which is knowledge, and which creates understanding, which is that finished product of the house. But when you just look into how, the combination of getting those materials up, how did you get them materials up? Because you don't just, like I said, throw them onto the section that you cleared out to build a house, and the house is going to stand by itself. No, the house has to actually be elevated. The house has to actually have time, effort, and energy put into that. Okay? And then I want to give you another viewpoint on today's mathematics. So what's 2 plus 6? That equals 8. 8 is to build or destroy. Build is to add on or create a positive elevation within the mind. Destroy is to ruin, to tear apart from within. So what is that? How do you see that, and what does that show you? Well, when you look at that stuff, that's just showing the equality of anything. Because no matter what, whenever you build, and I'm gonna get on to what building really, what building can mean. But whenever you build, you are always going to be creating a positive, bring something up, but you're also going to be taking away, destroying something. And if anybody wants to, give me an example where that is untrue, you can. But my thinking and my viewpoint of it, even if let's just say I'm building in the context of having meaningful dialogue with a person, which is most often thought what building means. But building can mean, you doing something for your community, you making a community center, which can help bring structure and order and resources to your community, which can start to establish you doing for self. You could be providing food, you could be providing just a place of teachings, you can be providing anything. Building can just be simply, there's an old person in the house, and it's the winter time, they can't be walking outside going groceries, so you go and get the groceries and give it to them. You maybe shovel their yard. Maybe in the summertime you mow their lawn so their house is all looking good and clean and kept up. That's building. That's creating a positive elevation. And just how there's equality, you must do it mentally as well as physically. So it's not always within the mind, but it has to do with the mind. It always has to do with the mind, but it's going to have to somewhere result in you actually bring it into fruition, which is wisdom. Actually doing that judgment call, and trying to elevate something, create a new thing, and putting in that hard work. But also with build or destroy. And let me go back on to how you're building and taking away. Let's say I'm building in the context of, I'm having meaningful dialogue with a person, or I'm trying to teach them something. Maybe I'm building on today's mathematics with them, just as I'm doing with y'all. But, I'm always going to be taking away something. And maybe I may not be the one, but what is happening, something is always going to be taken away and something is going to be brought. Unless, they're just not hearing any of it, one ear out the other, then nothing has happened. But that's why I must bring something from knowledge to born to see if it's even worth doing. So that's why me going, trying to build with a person, because you can only build so far as they will allow them. Because I can't give you understanding. The only person who will give you understanding is Allah and yourself. And since the black man is God and Allah does His work through man, you're gonna have to figure that out for yourself. Because when we say Allah is going to save all of us, we don't mean He's gonna come down from the sky and do some stuff. No, the true and living God is the Asiatic black man, the original man. So that's for us getting up and going to do for ourselves. Because Allah has blessed us and came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises due forever, and He brought us all of this lessons. He equipped the messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and He took somebody from among us and gave him the equipment, the fortitude, and the teachings, and the knowledge, the wisdom, and understanding, the grasp that He had upon us. So He showed us all these things. Now we had to bring it into equality while building. So going back to how building, or how just the equality of build or destroy, you're always going to be destroying something. So if I'm building with a person, having meaningful dialogue with them, that means I'm finna, if it's actually going somewhere and they're working with me, because it's equality. I can't just do all the work. Just how with knowledge of self, the only person who can do it is for you. It's your own self. But you also need the guidance and the help of people who are actually in this culture. That's what I need. I need an enlightener and somebody to actually go to, and before I can fully be, because I'm still in the process of learning. Because a 5%er is either someone who's in the process of learning 120 or has already learned it and stuff. But I can't complete the process of the equality without actually going around people within this culture and seeing how it operates, to make sure I'm not mixing truth with falsehood, but also how I can get a better understanding of it. So that's why I'm only talking on the things that I know to be true and exact. But back on to building and stuff. If I'm building with you, and you're bringing that equality and also listening, look, listen, and observe, actually taking that in, and also asking questions, wisdom, trying to get that understanding for yourself, because you can't get that understanding without wisdom. That's speaking on something. It's pointing out your observations. And then if the person who's telling you that says, yeah, then that means that's basically almost a form of a question. It's a question that does not ask itself. But since we're 5%ers, we must always try to create opportunities, will something into existence. So if somebody's stating these facts, we can assure them to them so that they will be mentally sound. They will know, okay, and then they can use that to build in the most efficient way for their own self as possible. But when I'm telling you something, that building is going to take away ignorance and fill it with, understanding or knowledge. So just with that, or like if I build a house in the middle of the woods, I'm finna be taken away from that plot of land, that space I was there, and putting a house there. So I feel like no matter where you're going, you're always going to be building and taking away. But also you must realize when you're trying to build positive, you can't go in with a destroy mindset, or else you're going to destroy yourself, because just simply that equality. If you try to destroy something, something's going to try to destroy you. So if I go in destroy, no, I must come in trying to build, because that act of building is going to bring the equality of destroying. Just as we build positive, that building positive is going to end all negative. That's gonna suffer suffocate devil civilization and not give it room to flourish or breathe. We're just building over that stuff. Just as that bare plot of land where you're going to build your house at, that foundational structure, if you follow that and actually build to the top, that's going to leave no room for that empty space to be there. So just as this devil civilization, if that's there, but if we're making sure that we are protecting our woman, because the original woman is the Asiatic black woman, the queen of civilization and Allah's most prized possession, we must protect our woman. We must make sure our children are being brought up in the correct way. We must make sure we have our own communities which are separate from these devils. We must make sure that we're the ones teaching our kids, and we're teaching our kids to be right and exact, and teaching them how to be righteous, and doing that culture with Islam and surrounding it, keeping that equality. But doing that is going to eliminate room for that devil civilization or devilishment to reside within them. If we keep our community good, we make sure to teach our brothers and sisters and want for our brothers just as we want for ourselves, because that's equality. Not just doing it mentally or physically, but wanting for our brothers and sisters what we want for ourselves, because I want for every black man and woman in America, all the guys on Earths and wilderness in North America, to have the same knowledge I have. That's why I really want to connect with some 5%ers, make sure I'm doing everything right, and then be able to learn all the lessons so I can teach all the lessons and teach in the most efficient way possible. That's why I'm only speaking on what I know. So let's go on to today's alphabet, which is number 26. Number 26 is the last letter in the alphabet, which is Z. Z is zigzag zig, meaning knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is life. You feel me? And also, what's the last lesson in 120? That's number 0, cipher. A complete circle consists of 360 degrees of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, which is life. So they both end the same, and they're both at the end. Well, if you look at a circle, circle is consisting of any person, place, or thing in a cipher, their cipher in existence, which represents infinity. And when you look at Z, zigzag zig, if that's knowledge, wisdom, understanding, that just shows you that you're not going to be going a straight, there isn't just one direction. Because let me just show y'all on a piece of paper all of this shit. Because when you look at a Z, I don't know if y'all can see this, but you're going this way, this way, this way. That's 3. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So it's not just one lane. You're gonna have to go this, that, and there. But see, just as it's not a straight line, you feel me? You're getting different viewpoints. Because if you're just going a straight line, you're stagnant. You're not going anywhere. But if you're actually trying to get through something and make it within a complete circle or a complete revolution, because everything has a cipher. Just as everything rotates around the axis, there's one big planet which has all these planets rotating around them, but all the individual planets have their own cipher, which the planets themselves are spinning. So that just also like the mother plane. There's a circle within a circle, and it has eyes, and them eyes, and it has scientists within them. So it's just kind of showing the equality. Externally it has metaphorical eyes or whatever you want to call it. Real eyes, whatever. However you want to look at it, has it's said that be 2 circles with eyes. The mother plane's the ship, a half mile by half mile long, and then the inside there's scientists. So that just kind of represents knowledge of self. And the mothership was created by Allah. And if Allah created the mothership, Allah is the most beneficent and most grateful. He is the greatest and most highest. He knows everything. He has a supreme power to know and understand. So if he created that, he knows the inner and outer circumference of it, and he made that thing that he created to know the inner and outer circumference of itself. That's why he equipped it internally within scientists and externally with them, the eyes and the rings. But anyways, going back on zigzag zig, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That shows the cipher, and that shows how when you're going within something, it's not just going to be one straight thing, because then you never get anywhere. You're just going stagnant in a straight line. You're never going to get more. So it's really just showing how ciphers are infinite, because just as everything rotates around the sun, those things are rotating themselves. And sometimes if you get close enough, you're going to be within a gravitational rotation of that planet. I forgot how fast we're spinning, but that's the reason why followers of Islam, we pray to the east, because the sun rises from the east. But also, I forgot how fast it's spinning, but whenever you're, because we're all on the earth, and that's just spinning. And once we face in the east, we'll be facing that same direction and spinning in accordance with the planet. I forgot the full thing, so I'm not going to speak on the full entirety, but that's what I read in the book Message to the Black Man in America. But yeah, so we're always going to be going to different places, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. But also, let's look at, there's only 26 letters in the alphabet, but when we look at mathematics, time, or space, that those 3 are all infinite. And this also kind of reminds me of when I was in school. I was in a class and they asked me, how many emotions are there and stuff. And I said, well, they're infinite. And then I compared it to math, science, and space and stuff. And you can also compare, these, because if numbers are infinite, you can't get to another number without skipping over them. Because really, truly, if you look, I mean, even if you do skip over them, numbers are always going to be infinite, and Islam itself is infinite. It has no beginning nor end. And going back to the emotions thing and stuff, everything's comprised of central, the regular emotions like happy, sad, scared, all of them. But then when you look within their own ciphers, they're going to have their own 360 degrees, which you can see different little emotions that are made. No matter how small difference is, they're a different emotion. So if you look at it like that, really emotions are infinite. And then speaking also of infinite and stuff, my brother was speaking to me one time, my actual, blood brother. He was speaking to me one time, and I was just trying to teach him a little bit about the 5% of the little bit that I know. And then he was just asking, he was like, well, if everybody says numbers are infinite, then why aren't? And the alphabet and numbers, not the supreme alphabet and numbers, but he's just speaking in general. If alphabet and numbers, if alphabet is numbered, then why isn't that infinite? Well, it just shows how, you know, the numbers are a part. I mean, the alphabet is a part, just like the supreme alphabet. That's what I'm speaking about now. Just as the supreme alphabet is a part of the numbers. It is one of the infinite things. So just as there's emotions, let's just look at happy. If you look at happy and look at that cipher and look at each and every single aspect of it, you're gonna find different deviations of that. Just as you know, uh, supreme alphabet that starts at number 26. But really, when you look at numbers themselves, they go on, and really there's no beginning nor end. Just as Islam has beginning nor end because it's infinity itself. And that always remember that which has a beginning always has an end. All right, so I want y'all to remember that. And Islam has no beginning nor end. But remember, anything that has a beginning must have an end. Just like the mystery gods religions, Christianity 551 years old, Buddhism 35,000 years old. You feel me? But yeah, when you compare the what's it called, the supreme alphabet with the mathematics, so it may not go on, infinite, but just because it stops at number 26. But when you look at numbers are infinite. See, because the alphabet is just a part of infinity itself. You feel me? One of the endless options. But then what I also wanted to speak on was how back when I was talking about how I said that not how emotions are infinite and I compared it in class to space, time, and mathematics and stuff. But then when you look at mathematics, that's 1 through 9, and then there's also 0, which is cipher. And really, any other number that exists outside of that is just a combination of all those numbers. So yes, numbers are comprised of those same numbers, 1 through 9, and then also 0. You know, anything, everything else is just, different combinations, but combinations are infinite itself. You feel me? So just as any number that comes with outside of those first numbers, they're all comprised of those same numbers. It's the same exact thing, but just different compositions of each and every single thing. So just like emotions and stuff, they may be happy, sad, scared, or whatever, but when you look within them, there's going to be different, combinations of the two. There might be combinations of the three. There might be little different, deviations of it. So that's what I wanted to say. Everything that comes out of mathematics is just comp, you know, a, con, a combination of knowledge to born. You feel me? So I hope and will that this video was provided understanding and some insight and was helpful to y'all. Peace to all the gods and peace to all the earths. Where this bond. Allahu Akbar. I just want to say, I send all my high vibrations, my love, and my frequencies to y'all. This is Emir, or Supreme Truth and Master, signing out, and peace.